Alright, fight fans, this is my reaction video to MVP Most Valuable Promotions MMA fight card on Netflix. The main event is headlined by Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano. There were mixed reviews when this fight was first announced. Many fans were skeptical of the event. After the full fight card was released, many fans and many media members are calling this event one of the most fun and interesting events in a long time. So let's take a look at the full fight card. MVP has stacked the undercard with a lot of quality fights and also featured many legends as well as up-and-coming top prospects, catering the show to all type of fans, whether you're a casual or you're a hardcore fan. There are some fights for you to watch. However, this is actually a tactic MVP has done many times in the past for their boxing events. They will use a big name like Jake Paul or Mike Tyson or an established MMA legend to headline the event. And then they will stack the undercard with a lot of legit up-and-coming boxers. When Jake Paul fought Tyson and when he fought many MMA legends in the past, he always stacked the undercard with a lot of talented women boxers like Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor. So that's what MVP has always done. Use a big fight to draw eyeballs, to create buzz online, also to get media coverage. And then they will stack the undercard with a lot of legit fighters and boxers. So this is definitely what they are trying to do with this MMA card. Let's take a look at some of the other names on the fight card. In the co-mains, we have the returning UFC champion and former PFL champion Francis Ngannou taking on Philip Lins, as well as Nate Diaz returning to MMA, taking on the king of violence, Mike Perry. Some people may complain that Philip Lins is not a big enough name for Francis, and that MVP should have got a bigger name for Francis to fight. But I think there's also a strategy behind this. I think MVP is treating this as a showcase fight for Francis. No disrespect to Philip Lins, but I think MVP wants to build up Francis again and reintroduce him to the world through the platform of Netflix. Of course, Philip Lins can spoil their plans, but I think this is what MVP is really going for. With an impressive showing, the MVP can market Francis once again as the baddest man on the planet and the best heavyweight in the world. And for the Mike Perry versus Nate Diaz fight, this is a showcase fight for both of them, respected legends of the sport. Jake Paul actually has boxed both men, so there is a storyline there for him to insert himself into this equation, regardless who comes out on top. So I think this is a strategy for Jake Paul to plant the seeds. He basically lined up these two fights on this card, and if this card does well, I think we may very well see Jake Paul make his MMA debut for the next MVP MMA fight card. And he can possibly take on the winner between Nate Diaz and Mike Perry, or he could box Francis Ngannou in a boxing fight. So I think Most Valuable Promotion and Jake Paul definitely know what they are doing with these two fights, and they are planting the seed for an eventual showdown between Jake Paul and the winners from either of these two fights. And the rest of the undercard also offer many great fights as well. We have former Bellator champion Jason Jackson taking on Lorenz Larkin. This should be a great fight between two established welterweights of the world. Jason Jackson is definitely top 15 caliber fighter, even if he's in the UFC right now. So a fight between him and Lorenz Larkin should also be a good scrap. Then we have the undefeated top prospect Mohamed Mokaev taking on former ONE FC bantamweight champion Adriano Moraes in a flyweight fight. This is also a very interesting fight. Mokaev is definitely a top 5 flyweight in the world. So him taking on the legit veteran Adriano Moraes, who has fought Demetrius Johnson at ONE FC, this should be a very tough challenge for Mokaev, and we can see how good Mokaev really is. Then we have the return of JDS for the old school MMA fans, as he returns and takes on Rebellious Despang, who has been knocking everyone out over at Karate Combat. This should be a very good heavyweight fight between the two men. JDS is always known for his boxing, and Despang is a very dangerous striker who has been knocking everyone out, so this should definitely be a good fight. Then we have top French prospect Saladin Parnasse, who is 28-year-old, a double champ in KSW in featherweight and lightweight, taking on another surging young contender in Kenneth Cross. This should be another banger between two top prospects in the world. Parnasse is definitely a top prospect and is someone that the UFC wanted to sign, but he actually turned down the UFC in 2024 because of financial reasons. He has an MMA record of 22 wins and just 2 losses. Now, on the other hand, Kenneth Cross is also another prospect in his own right. Kenneth Cross has a 17-4 MMA record, and he actually fought on the Contender Series and won his fight, but he was never signed. He is definitely an action fighter who can fight aggressive and who loves to pressure and take the fight to his opponent. The fight between Parnas and Kenneth Cross should be a very interesting battle of the top prospects. The rest of the undercard also feature Chris Avila, and also Alex Pereira's sister Eileen Pereira is also on there. So this is an 11-fight fight card with lots of exciting potential fights and fight of the nights on there, featuring a lot of beloved legends, top prospects in the world. So let me know, what do you think about this MVP MMA fight card? Which fight are you looking forward to the most? Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Until next time.